Some 10 years ago, I was introduced to Dr Ferdinand Vandersanden, and since then I've had quite a few dealings with him, and his expertise in pigeon racing has grown considerably since he first started some 15 years ago. And over the years he's also developed a range of products, natural products, so that we don't have to use antibiotics. And these have come good, and fanciers are finding that it is far better to use a natural product than an antibiotic. So what we'll do is we'll be asking Ferdy some questions over a period of time, and then we will then go on to see the birds. I hope you enjoy this, because I'm going to enjoy asking these questions. Right, your profession is a veterinary surgeon, but how long have you been connected to racing pigeons?
About more than 15 years I am professional connected with pigeons, but I'm 28 year vet, and I work since 25 years with birds.
How did you come to get into racing pigeons?
Professional with clients in 1996. Just Tony contacted me to research his pigeons and to be his vet. And okay, before I treat pigeons, but not so much. But since 1996 I work very much with pigeons.
Have you seen much change during that period?
Oh yes, oh yes. When we looked at in 1998, we saw that a lot of pigeons are infected with bacterial infections, and that the bacteria are resistant for the most of the bacteria. Then we changed our system, and in place to sell antibiotics, we try to hold the pigeons in good condition on a natural way with plant extracts.
Right. Your profession, obviously, you know more about disease in racing pigeons than the average racing pigeon fancier. What is the major problem in racing pigeons at the present time?
Well, you have a lot of problems natural. Look, when you see in 1983, we have for the first time paramyxo here. About 1990. We have the first problems with adeno. Since 1998 we have a lot of problems with circovirus. Thus you see, there is all the time a change of viral infections, bacterial infections. We have also so that resistance from bacteria against antibiotics changed enormously, because a lot of fanciers give 1-2 days an antibiotic preventive. Without knowing what it will bring. And of course, of this system, the resistance higher a lot of.
But when I first met you, adenovirus was a major problem. What actually brought that about? How did it come to be in racing pigeons?
We don't know. I think we work in that time. The most of the fanciers use a lot of cortisone drops to reduce molting, to higher the performance of the pigeons. But at that moment, resistance, the immunity from when pigeons go down very much. And I think, I have the opinion, and also Professor Lucius from the university, that was the cause of adeno, that we receive a lot of adeno.
You mentioned paramyxo earlier, coming over here. Do you really think pigeons need to be vaccinated every year?
Yes. It's, look, I think when you have vaccinated your pigeons 5-6 years, okay, then I think the resistance is not exactly 1 year. Then you can think, okay, I can wait 15-16 months, but normally it's a disease that pigeons can receive every year.
So even though you vaccinate them this year, they can still get it next year?
Yeah, but we have the problem that a lot of fanciers don't vaccinate our stock birds. They vaccinate only the racing birds because they must it from the government. But I say all the time, your stock birds, your breeding birds, are the basic of your loft. Why not vaccinate your stock birds? They give immunity on the youngsters, the first few weeks. And that's very important.
Some people believe that if you give them the paramyxal virus a couple of weeks before the racing, it gives the pigeons a boost. Is this correct?
Yes, this is correct. A lot of fanciers vaccinate at this moment for this booster effect. Because you activate the immunity system. And with this activating of the immunity system, the condition will be higher by the pigeon. And this effect a lot of fanciers will have. Yes.
Do fanciers, once they've done it prior to the season starting, do they do it again during the season for this effect? Or can that overdose them?
No, you cannot overdose. Look, when you vaccinate your racing birds before 1 month before the season start, and then they are looking what race they pick up a few races to have good results. I say, for example, Barcelona, and then 3 weeks before Barcelona they go vaccinate again their pigeons for this booster effect to higher the condition. Yes.
So it does work?
Yes.
Is there any advantage vaccinating our pigeons also against paratyphus? Is it necessary?
Well, necessary. The big problem by paratyphus is that you can have carriers in your loft. And these carriers are a source of infection. What a lot of fanciers do is at the end of the racing season they go treat the birds preventive against paratyphus. My first question is now why? The first question that I must take is, are your pigeons infected with paratyphus? That's the first question. When they are infected, I must treat the birds. So the first thing that I must do is control the pigeons with droppings, with blood samples. Okay, when they are positive, we can make a resistance test, an antibiogram, and on this antibiogram we can say you must treat your birds with this or this or this. Antibiotic. That's a problem. Look, 3 weeks ago I have had a fancier with infection of paratyphus, and Terraprim was resistant, Bitril was resistant, Lincospectin was resistant, Chloramphenicol was resistant. The only antibiotic what works was amoxicillin with clavulanic acid. When this fancier treats his birds preventive with Bitril, he has the opinion that his birds are treated against paratyphus, and that's free, but it's not true. That's a very bad opinion by pigeon fanciers, that they go treat the birds preventive against paratyphus. No, the pigeon fanciers have a bad opinion about paratyphus and they prevent the birds preventive, and I'm not agree with that, because the resistance is very high and you must first research your pigeons, and when they are infected you must search what antibiotic you must use, and then it works very well. But this preventive treatment, no. I'm not agree with that, because you don't know if the pigeons are infected and if the paratyphus, the salmonella bacteria by the pigeons, is sensitive for the antibiotic that you give.
You mentioned amoxicillin and clavulanic acid. That's cold boil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any step further gone since that was first brought out?
No. Look. You can have paratyphus, I can have paratyphus, my colleague can have paratyphus, and this salmonella bacteria can have different sensitivity. Yours can be sensitive for Bitril, mine can be sensitive for cobalt, another another one for terra prim. That you must research.
We're looking at a few diseases now. Can you explain them and what they are and why? Fungal infection appears to be a big problem in pigeons. What is it and why? What do you treat it with?
No, okay, a fungal infection is you have viral infections caused by viruses, you have bacterial infections caused by bacteria, and you have fungal infections caused by fungi. Why we have no more fungal infections? Because the people use more and more antibiotics. And antibiotics is a source for fungal infections.
So if you treat them too much, you do give them
Yes.
fungal infection if you use too many antibiotics.
Yes. 8 years ago I had a very famous Belgian fancier, and he has a lot of problem with his pigeons, and he come here in my practice and I research his pigeons and I take 7 swabs. I say, you don't receive antibiotic from me, I must first know what problem is in your loft. And we take 7 swabs, and all the swabs were positive for fungal infections. And at that moment I say to him, he has visited 10 vets, and this vet gives Bitril, and another vet gives lingospectin, another vet gives amoxicillin, another vet gives Bitril. And at the end of the history, he has a lot of fungal infection. That was his problem. And at that moment we treated the fungi, and his problem was lost.
So people have been using too many antibiotics on
Yes.
racing pigeons.
Yes, yes.
Do you think they're always necessary?
What?
Antibiotics, do you think they're always necessary?
No, we use, look, when tomorrow big fanciers like Koopman or Tone or Gabi van der Bellen write in a newspaper, look, we give everyday antibiotics, then everybody think we must do it.
You don't, of course, you're only saying that if they say it,
Yes,
people do
yes, yes. People believe that. People believe that, and that's a big problem. That's a big problem. They don't believe scientific persons. They believe other fanciers. And when they lie or not lie, it's not a matter. When they say you must do that, they do that.
Right.
Gerard Koopman used 10 years ago, he gave sheep fat to his pigeons, and now a lot of fanciers think we must give sheep fat. The first thing that you must give on your pigeons is animal proteins. Okay, it can be sheep fat. It can also be milk powder. It can be colostrum. It can be egg food. There's all sources of animal proteins. But you must think before, 20, 30 years ago, the breeding birds fly outside and they go to the field and they pick insects. Now at this moment they rest all the time in the loft. They come not outside. And they receive a shortness on animal proteins. But in place of sheep fat, Gerard could always say, look, take egg food or take colostrum. It has the same effect.
Right.
But people believe too much what they read in newsletters. There is no antibiotics what works in one day. There's 1 day treatments, 2 day treatments, or peanuts. That's my opinion.
So they need a proper course of treatment no matter what.
Yes, yes. Look, I have a system, and in my system I cannot say that you cannot use antibiotics all year. But I can say, okay, with a treatment of 2-3 times maximum, we can have a good result. And that I will have. Not a treatment every week, 1 or 2 days. Why? Why must we treat the pigeons every week against canker? It's not necessary. But people believe that they must treat every time they come back from a flight, they must treat the birds.
So, talking about canker, what if, or trichomonas, what are the products that are best for it? Ronnie Dazzle used to be one, but it doesn't appear to be available anymore.
Yeah, but the big discussion by trichomonas is, must I treat the birds against trichomonas? I have the opinion that trichomonas has no effect on the results of the pigeons. I have researched pigeons, the second national pool, a few years ago, and it was playing with canker. 5 crosses canker. And we have not treated this bird. Because you have equilibration between the good and the bad trichomonas. That you must understand, that you have different arts of trichomonas. You have good trichomonas and you have bad trichomonas. When the acidity of your crop is good, when you have a very acid medium, a pH of 4, 4.5, trichomonas cannot live in this medium. We have a lot of fanciers who use Vire, and they give regularly Vire, and they have no problems with canker. And the last 2-3 years they have not treated the birds against canker. Because we have seen in this very acid medium, trichomonas cannot live.
Yes, well, I mean, I've used Vire since I first met you.
Yeah.
And I've had my pigeons tested and they've never shown any signs of canker whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I've used Vire every week without fail for, it must be 10 years now.
Yeah, but you can also use apple vinegar or another acid product or liquid, but the advantage from Vire with other products is that Vire exists of 5 organic acids with plant extracts, and these plant extracts have also a natural antibiotic effect. Yeah? And this totally concept makes Vire so good in comparison with apple vinegar. And because people think all the time we must give antibiotics, but 100 years ago we have no antibiotics. We must work with plant extracts.
You see, I had a fancier from Ireland read a piece in the Homing World that I wrote about Vire. So he then arranged to get some when he was at Blackpool from Asprey Pigeon Supplies who met him there. And he couldn't understand why 1 or 2 of his pigeons were going light. And I had the same problem, and I wrote about this. And what it was, there's 1 or 2 pigeons, if that's in the water, will not drink it. Could it be adjusted so it's more...
No,
or would that take away the excellent effect that it does have on them?
The dosage is very important. When you make your water too acid, then they don't drink it. At this moment I work with a strength of 5 milliliter, and 5 milliliter in 1 liter water don't give problems. Don't give problems. Also the first, you can also mix Vire in on the food, and dry it with beer yeast. This is not a problem, but the first time, I say all the time, when you give Vire, you must try to give it 10 days, 14 days.
Yeah, well, I do.
And this 40 days, okay, they learn about the Vire, they learn to drinking them, and no. I think 99% of the fanciers have no problem with Vire. So the birds not drinking.
Well, it's not a problem, there's just the odd pigeon that won't drink it.
Yeah.
While it's in the water, it will go 2 or 3 days without water.
Yeah, I know. I know it.
Obviously, they then lose weight.
Yeah, I know the problem. Yeah.
Put the water back in front of them, they're in.
Yeah. But also, when a lot of people think, look, when I give antibiotics, I must give a probiotic to the lactobacillus to make my medium in the crop and the stomach again acid. But Vire bring your pH down, and in this acid medium your lactobacillus can develop without problems. You don't need very expensive probiotics.
And another problem that has arisen in pigeons in recent years is Streptococcus bovis.
Yeah.
What is that?
So Streptococcus bovis, the last years we have well, since 10 years I think we have a lot of problems with pigeons. The day after the race they cannot fly in their box. And the condition for the pigeon is very good. The day before she flying a very good price. But Streptococcus bovis is a normal intestinal habitat. Yeah? And what's the cause? I don't know. In any stress situation can or let develop this Streptococcus bovis. Streptococcus bovis go multiply in the intestines. He produces toxins. The toxins go into the blood and into the breast muscle, and you have a very high muscle necrosis, and that's very painful, and that's the reason that the pigeon cannot fly. 10 years ago, 6-7 years ago, I talk with my German colleague, and then I say, know you the problems of Streptococcus bovis in Germany? And then he say it's only a Belgian problem. We don't have this problem in Germany, but at this moment the problems are very, very high. The only thing that you can do preventive against Streptococcus bovis is higher your immune system. Diminuate the stress. Stress all the time is a very bad factor. But, okay, I only breed pigeons because we do artificial insemination. But when I look, I have no problem with herpes. I have no problem with adeno. I have no problem with circovirus. Why? I have no problem with Streptococcus bovis. Why? My pigeons have no stress. They fly not out. They rest all the time in the same circumstances. And that's a problem. When you go training with your birds, when you let fly out the birds, when a bird of prey attack the birds, it's a stress situation, and your viral infections are there.
Going back to this fungal infection, when I first came here with Geert de Klerk, it must have been 10 years ago, and I had a few pops the night before, and I had a very dry mouth. Now, you said to me, put a drop of this on your tongue.
CCK.
And it was in a brown bottle.
CCK.
Now, when I did that, my mouth was fresh and it cleared it all. No longer was it dry, it was clear. Is that the same thing as clearing the pigeons out with fungal infection?
No, fungal infection, you will find a lot of fungal infection in the crop, Candida albicans. And okay, why he develop is also you have a diminution of your condition and you give too much antibiotics, and then you create an easy medium to develop these fungal infections.
Right.
And at that moment we developed with the university CCK, because CCK exists of plant extracts who has an antifungal reaction.
Oh, right. What about worms in pigeons?
Well, from time to time, you find worms in the droppings. You have a natural difference when you take Ascaridia. It's not so a big problem. The biggest problem is when you have hairworms. Then you see not only your pigeons, but your pigeons become very skinny. They lose blood. Sure, youngsters, because the resistance by youngsters is not so high. You lose blood, you have very diarrhea symptoms, and at that moment you must treat the birds. There's a regular control of your droppings. Must lose your worm problem.
Right. What about respiratory?
respiratory problems by pigeons is a very big problem, because they have different causes. You have herpes virus, you have staphylococcus infection, you have streptococcus infection, you have mycoplasma, you have chlamydophila. These are all kind of bacteria who cause respiratory problems. Thus, the difficulty is to observe your pigeons and to detect what bacterial infection is in my loft. And you must think that the most of the antibiotics works against staphylococcus infection, streptococcus infection, but not against mycoplasma. Not against herpes virus. Herpes virus, when you have this on your loft, okay, your pigeons must develop self resistance, must build up an own resistance. There is no treatment. Staphylococcus, streptococcus, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, they were very sensitive for Bifs. At this moment they are very resistant for Bifs. And the only thing that you can do against streptococcus, staphylococcus for 90% is give amoxicillin, ampicillin, amoxicillin with clavulanic acid. That's the only solution. Mycoplasma we see it regularly in our praxis, and yeah, you cannot use amoxicillin for mycoplasma infection. Mycoplasma infection need a very specific antibiotic treatment, like tyrosine, like doxycycline. When you have ornithosis in your loft, okay, you can only work with doxycycline.
So, going back years ago, you would get, in Belgium, the fanciers have consulted the vets way far back to what they have in the UK. And what they used to do in the UK, they'd set out treatments for this, treatment for that, and then they would give them products that were used by farmers on chickens and cows, etc. But now that's not the case. More and more fanciers are looking to get the pigeons healthy. Now, when they used to use that programme, is there anything that they could do besides getting the pigeons tested, or would they have to have them tested without going into treating the birds unnecessarily like that? Could you use natural products with your corns and water and prevent that from happening in the first place?
The first problem that we have is, okay, what must we do before the racing season? Before the racing season we take all the time throat swabs. In these throat swabs we can detect bacterial infections. At that moment I can say, look, in your loft, by your young pigeons, we find that and that bacteria. By your yearlings we find that and that. By your stuck birds we find that and that. And you must treat your birds with this antibiotic. Okay, at that moment we know what we can use the racing season for 90%, I'm sure. When I do it before the season, I can say with this antibiotic you can work without problems. But we have seen natural that when we take swabs that a lot of bacteria are resistant for all the antibiotics that we tested. And we test all the time 8 antibiotics. What shall we do? When all the antibiotics don't work against this resistant bacteria, we can do nothing. And at that moment, we treat the birds like 100 years ago with plant extracts. It's also the reason that we give a lot of plant extracts preventive to the birds, like SB Special, like Vior, like CCK, who has an antibiotic effect on a natural way. Plant extracts like cinnamon, like oregano, like how you say that? This green plant, what?
Nettles.
Nettles. These plant extracts are very high antibiotic effects. And the difference between real antibiotics and this plant extracts is, okay, that you need more time for treatment. With an antibiotic you can say, okay, I treat the birds 3 days and it's over. With this plant extracts I must give them 10, 14 days to have the same effect. But the advantage from this plant extracts is I have no resistant problem. And it's on a natural way. I have also no problems with fungal infections. And you can combine these plant extracts together. That's an advantage. And I must say we have very good result with working with this system.
Right. When you first started with pigeons, being involved, you went on to the artificial insemination. Why was that? What sort of brought that about in racing pigeons?
Boy, and I work at that moment a lot with fanciers of crane. Yeah.
Is that the
here in the near,
outside,
yes, here in my neighbor there was a very big center, one of the biggest of the world, cracks breeding and conservation center. And these people work with artificial insemination by these Amazon birds, by these crane birds. And the results were very good. And then I have had an opinion why we cannot do that by pigeons, because artificial insemination was introduced very much by horses, by cows, by chickens, by all these animals. Why not by pigeons? And in 2000 we are the first who started with artificial insemination, experimentally, because we have no knowledge about it. By pigeons. How must we do that by pigeons? How must you dilute the sperm? How much sperm you will have with one proliferant? These things we don't know at that moment, and we have taken 2 years, I think, to research that. And after 2 years we are ready, and since 2002 we make artificial insemination for a lot of fanciers and for ourselves. And the advantage natural from artificial insemination is that you can breed more youngsters from a good cock in a short time. You can do more tests. It means when you have the first national winner, and they want to give you a lot of money for this bird, okay, then you can have the opinion, what shall I do? When I sell it, okay, I have my money, for the rest I have nothing. But when it's an exceptional breeder, you can sell every year youngsters from this cock. And with artificial insemination you can breed a lot of youngsters in a short time. And you can say, okay, this month I breed 30, 40 youngsters with this cock, and I raise these 30, 30 youngsters in the same circumstances. At the end of the year, you know if it's a good breeder, yes or no. When it's not a good breeder, okay, you can sell him. When it's a good breeder, you can sell every year youngsters. That's the difference.
Does it have any effect on the pigeons themselves, the pigeons that are bred on artificial insemination?
No. We cannot, when you buy a national winner for 25,000 euro, you cannot do something that his character will change or his condition will change, and no. No.
But the pigeons bred off him,
yeah.
the stock bred on artificial insemination, they're not affected in any way?
No. I see no bad effects on my youngster. Okay, time to time you have a cock who will not fertile the eggs, a young cock, or a female who don't lay eggs. That's all the time possible. It's all the time possible with a natural breeding system, or it's possible with an artificial breeding system.
Well, we've had barren hens for years, haven't we, in pigeon racing? There's people had hens that don't lay. And
you know, I the most of my stock birds I breed themselves, and I can say, look, it's not lower than 1% of these pigeons that you must say, look, I cannot work with them.
Have you actually bred many pigeons that have been raced, that have performed well? What sort of performances have you put up?
Look, when you take that the last years the best pigeons in just on this loft were born from artificial insemination, national hero, artificial Utah, the Ovi, were all birds born by artificial insemination. In my loft, the national winner of Bla in 2007 was a bird bred by artificial insemination.
That was blue Ferdy, was it?
Yes, but a lot of fanciers have also a bad opinion about this artificial system. Also the...
Yes, but is that because they're not having the system for themselves, or is it just because they don't want to pay for it? Or?
Yeah. No, with artificial insemination you must have... it's a total system. You must have sterilized cocks. Without sterilized cocks it's very difficult to work. Because you must put the cock and the hen pair up on site. And that's not so easy. When you take, we have here 100 breeding hens and we must separate all these hens from the cock and pair up on site, then it's too difficult.
How do you treat the cocks that you're going to use with the hens for these that are being inseminated? What do you actually do?
For artificial insemination we need breeding hens, we need nursing hens, we need nursing cocks, we need sterilized cocks. Okay, the sterilized cocks, we cut the ductus differens, like we do by people, and at that moment they are sterilized. And they dance around the hens, but they cannot fertilize the eggs. And you can pair up these cocks with these hens together. You must not, in a natural system, and you will do artificial insemination, you must pair up on site. In our system with sterilized cocks, you can pair up all the hens and cocks together. And then in winter breeding, day 6, day 7, we take the hens to the clinic. We bring the hens to the clinic for artificial insemination with the semen of the national winner or the national ace pigeon. With one preliminary we can inseminate 3, 4, 5 hens. It depends on the quality and the quantity of the sperm. It's very important. Time to time you think, okay, today I go inseminate 5 hens with my my good cock, but at that moment that you take the semen, he's very nervous and he makes droppings, then it's over. Time to time he don't give sperm on the day that you want to have sperm. It's material who's alive, and you must calculate it, that it's not a robot. When you like it, you do it. When you don't like it, you don't do it.
There's no weakness in the pigeons at all then? That are bred on the system, there's no weakness in them?
No.
Right, you've bought quite a few pigeons over the years.
Yes.
They've always been cocks, obviously, because you can't use hens, can you?
Yes.
Which do you consider as the best, or have they all performed, the youngsters off all those pigeons perform well?
And the best pigeons that we have in our loft is Nationaal II. This Nationaal II was the national winner of Elimar in 2003 and 2004. But it's a very exceptional breeding bird. Not only his child, but also grandchilds and grand-grandchilds fly very well.
Is he still breeding?
Yeah. We work also with him. He's now 9 years old, and yeah.
Is there any specific distance that you look at for breeding, or how do you select the ends to go to them cocks?
No, we have in our loft, we have short distance pigeons, middle distance pigeons, long distance pigeons. But when I look to the pedigrees, for example, from Dr Vandersanden, then I see a lot of pigeons, long distance pigeons, pair up with middle distance pigeons. Yeah? And this is for the races of between 600 and 800 kilometers. The most of the fanciers, like at this moment, there's 1 day long distance, like we say. Yeah?
Yes.
Pigeons start in the morning at 6 and at the evening they were back. And we have all the time crossed a lot of pigeons from short distance with long distance, middle distance with long distance. To create birds who can fly from 200 till 800 kilometers.
Well, I've actually got some off Winston, and I found they've been crossed in with Red Barcelona, Full Tribe, Dinarbon, all distance pigeons. But those pigeons off Winston, they certainly fly hard races, 300-mile races, and they do win at it.
Yes, I think 5-6 years ago I was in China, Mongolia, and I have middle distance and short distance pigeons with me, because everybody say in China they will have middle distance and short distance pigeons. And in Mongolia they would have long distance pigeons. And at the moment I have youngsters with me, a combination of the ace pigeon short distance, pair up with the Narbonne. And then 2 years after you see the people back, and then they ask me, have you also pigeons from this combination? Brothers and sisters from this combination. And it was short distance pair up with long distance. And these pigeons fly very well. So
the breeding program that you have is based on fact and not just any old owl?
No, I will create a bird. I will create a bird who can fly all distances. Because when you have a specific long distance pigeons and you pair up this pigeon with the middle distance pigeons, okay, his speed will be a little bit higher, and you have a very strong pigeon, a pigeon who can fly in very bad circumstances. Because in my opinion, long distance pigeons are stronger than middle distance or short distance pigeons.
And which pigeons do you currently have in your loft?
What do you mean?
Which pigeons, national winners, national ace pigeons do you currently have in the loft?
At this moment, we have the National II, national winner of Limoges, we have the Ronaldo, national winner of Bifs, we have the Marseille, this year second national and international on Marseille. We have the son of Figo, we have the correct national ace pigeon long distance from the Netherlands. Dus we have a lot of good cocks, and we try to breed together. The advantage also from artificial insemination is in a few years you can create females with 4 or 5 national winners in pedigree. I think we are the only in the world what have pedigrees with 4 or 5 national winners in pedigree. Nobody has that.
And within 3-4 generations.
Yes, yes. In 3-4 generations, I can create. Look, I have a youngster who's born in January. I pair up. Dus it was the son of a national winner. I pair him up again with a national winner. The youngster of that has 3 national winners in pedigree. And next year, this youngsters have 4 national winners in pedigree. Dus I cross all the time pigeons together.
Right. I think that leaves us with going to have a look at the pigeons, doesn't it?
Yes.
This is the breeding centre for Bifs, of Ferdy Vandersanden, where all the breeding's done. If we go in, we can come in and have a look.
This is the loft of the breeding hens. Normally all the time in the day the breeding hens are outside.
Yeah. There's one for the hens, 2 sections further along for the breeding.
Because of the ice and fish market. There's a system to...
This, Ferdy was just saying, a new system is putting in for disinfected water. What does it actually do? What do you do with it?
The advantage of this system is it kills viruses, it kills bacteria. When pigeons drink from this water, they grow better, the condition is better, without using antibiotics.
So you're going into it in a big way for breed healthy pigeons?
Yes, in a natural way. That's very important for me.
I notice you've changed a lot around here since, you know.
Yeah. I bought it in an auction 2 weeks ago and I saw it. I say, this I must have. And it was, oh, you say that a faiscement. Ben zegt ze dan de Engels? Faiscement. Someone was broke.
Ah.
And yeah, when you must buy a table like that, yeah, it cost about 1,500, 2,000 euro, and now I bought it for 250 euro.
Oh.
It's from a restaurant.
Oh right, I wondered what it was. Stainless steel top for keep it clean and that, hygienic.
Yeah.
So, salt.
Salt. Bath salts. What's very important, we feed in the molting time a lot of you see? Herb seeds.
Oh.
A lot of. And you see it on the youngsters. The development of the youngsters is much better.
It's the herb seed that
herb seeds.
Where'd you get them from?
Buyers.
Oh, Bayers.
Here, after you. After you. How you see, Health seed mixture supreme.
It's a nice mix.
Yeah. This is the mix for super malting mix.
It's a good strong mix, huh? Who's that?
Hilde, that's my most famous breeding hen. It's a sister of Figo. And before she was in a loft of Guy Peters and he stopped with racing and I bought this hen from him.
So you got a sister?
The mother of the national Blois winner. She was the mother of the grandmother of the national Blois winner.
So you've got a son and a daughter of Figo then?
Eh?
You've got a son and a daughter?
Yeah. No, I have 3 daughters of Figo and a son of Figo. But it was a very exceptional breeding hen.
Right. We'll now take a look at a few of the pigeons, the stock pigeons that Ferdy has. And by the way, he's standing on a block, he wants to be taller than me. What's this one, Ferdy?
This is a new pigeon that we bought. He was this year 2nd national and 2nd international Marseille, and this bird fly in 3 years, 3 times in the first 100 international Marseille. It was the best international Marseille flyer of the world. He was international ace pigeons over 3 years.
Over 3 years?
Over 3 years, 2008, 2009, 2010.
Do you think that ace pigeons are better than a first national winner, whereas an ace pigeon has put up a performance over a period of time?
Yes. You have more performances with an ace pigeon. Right. With a national winner you have one result. Okay, you don't know. It's possible that your first national winner is a very good breeder. It's also possible that the 19 pigeon is a better breeder than the first one. Ace pigeons have more results, and on these results you can understand, you can have more breeding effect, better breeding effect.
This is the Eye of the Marseille, another top racer and breeder. And the wing, again distance in the wing.
This is San Figo. Since Figo is not fertile yet, this is a very important bird. I bought this bird from the auction of Kees Boswa, and in Kees Boswa's loft it was a very good breeder, and the results here are also very good.
What's he bred?
He bred first National Blois. More than 7,000 pigeons. The first National Chantilly he bred, and also not only his children but also his grandchildren fly very, very well.
A good solid pigeon. Solid.
Yeah, yeah. Very solid pigeon. Yes.
Got a good eye on him.
And it's a pigeon of about 9 years old.
Got a very good back wing on him for distance pigeons. Good flights. Very nice pigeon. Very nice. This is the Eye of the Son of Figo, and it really is an impressive pigeon. This is the sire of first national winners. And this wing is also a real good wing on the pigeon, which puts some power into it when it's racing. And this power is obviously going into the young birds from him. Son of Figo.
This is the best pigeon that I have in my loft. It's Nationaal II.
How old is he now?
9 years. Will be 10 years in a few months.
And he's bred the first national winner.
Yes.
We were, Chris Knowles was looking at the origin of Nationaal I,
yeah,
which was a checker clock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And down off Nationaal I, he found 7, 8 first national winners off this line of pigeon.
Yeah.
First national winners, that is.
Yeah.
Plus many more winners.
Right.
He's the sire of National Hero. Did he win 11 first for Joss Thorne?
Yes. Yeah, no, I saw this weekend on Pipa was an auction of a bird of Philip Norman. And it was a female from Nationaal II. And a daughter, a son of this female was National Ace Pigeon, KBDB Provincial, long distance. But you see, this pigeon can fly, youngsters of this pigeon can fly from 300 to 800 kilometers without problem.
A good all-round pigeon.
There's also also, I think, the advantage to cross the long distance pigeons with middle distance pigeons. Middle distance pigeons with short distance pigeons. You bring speed, you bring the solidity of the long distance pigeon in your line. It's And when I looked to the pedigrees of Gabby van der Velen, it was very impressive for me. When you look all the time, national ace pigeon long distance, national winner long distance, he pair up with his middle distance pigeons.
This is the eye of Nationaal II that has a slightly stronger eye than the other pigeons for some reason. Again, sire of first national winners. Real top class breeder, as he was a racer when he first national. A couple of broken flights there. Nationaal II. Super pigeon.
Oh, this is the crack. Was national ace pigeon long distance in the Netherlands.
Who raced it?
Bifs. It's a bloodline of Wim Muller, Oostenrijk.
Was this first national ace pigeon of all Holland of 06?
Yes. Right.
And this is the crack?
Yeah, it's a crack, yes.
These are this year's young birds. Sure,
in 3 weeks, 100 go to China.
These are in the loft above the where the pigeons are breeding downstairs. I can see you're not used to catching pigeons. What's this one?
This is the bloodline of the national winner of Bloch. It's Top Gun. Inbred Top Gun. It's a new Elimar.
This is inbred to Top Gun?
Yeah.
Was that Sangers, was it?
What?
Sangers, did he? Sangers?
No, Elimar, Gijs Peters.
Oh.
But a son of him flew last year the second and the 98 on a 300 and 500 kilometer race in China.
The son of this club then?
Yes. What's happened with
it's just where it's... It's alright. What are these, what's this now? This is all new, this. So you've got plenty of work going on.
No, look, next year I bought 3 boxes of this. The advantages, look, you can breed individually. Dus this is it's a set of full dry.
Sort of full try?
Yeah. Paired up with a daughter of the Red Barcelona.
The full try is no longer here, is it?
No, he's to China. And that was the daughter of the Red Barcelona.
Have you still got the 161?
What?
Still got the 161?
Yeah. No, and the advantage of this system is that you can use your cocks in a natural system. At the moment you don't use them for artificial insemination.
And this is daughter Red Barcelona?
Yes. Yes. And you can drive it with this system and you can clean it very easy. And what will be the price? About €1,100.
On the system.
It is also nursing pairs.
All this is new since I was last here.
You know, this was also before.
Was it?
Yes, yes, this is on 10 years, but this was not.
What's the red grizzle?
I don't know. It's our nursing hands. That's the last box.
So you haven't really got a lot left, have you? Young birds, when 100 have gone from there, you won't have many left.
Yeah, but we bred, I think this year, 300 youngsters.
300? How many have gone?
Eh?
How many have gone actually, I wonder?
And this one gone. I think 30, 40.
Oh.
I have no name in racing sport, lads. I don't race with pigeons. And now the people don't believe it. People don't believe that people don't believe that artificial insemination pigeons can help.
Yeah, I think we've seen just about everything. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Thank you for your time. And we'll see you on another trip sometime.
Yeah.